The hallmark of Indian agriculture has been the genetic diversity held by farmers for over 2,000 years, and farming itself has been intertwined with the traditional culture of local communities. India is acclaimed as one of the 12 mega-diversity countries of the world, with 10 unique agroecological zones. Today, however, India is part of the worldwide epidemic of the extinction of species. Earlier, such extinctions were caused by natural disasters, but the growing population has been cited as a reason for the loss of diversity. Today, 75% of plant varieties are extinct. Just 4 crops provide 8% of the total calorie intake. Scientists have calculated that species are being lost at the rate of 20,000 every year, 74 every day, or 3 every hour.
Women have developed multiple strategies for their farming systems based on sophisticated management of genetic diversity. For instance, women use intercropping and diversification of crops in their fields and home gardens to reduce the risk of crop failure. Modern plant breeding has its foundation on the farmers' varieties, and until breeders started manipulating the process, there was no danger of erosion. With the advent of the Green Revolution, formal gene banks were established and farmers' access was restricted. Despite the odds, some farmers in dryland and semi-arid tracts have sought to maintain indigenous seed varieties.
South of Bangalore, India, and close to this electronic city, a cluster of villages nestle between the mountains. They are well shielded from the urban population and technological developments of the city and consist mainly of farming communities. Traditional agriculture in India is one of the oldest and yet one of the most advanced forms of food production. Farmers choose crop types or varieties depending on the soil depth, the water holding capacity, slope and drainage, and by observing their interactions with each other. The combination of different agroclimatic conditions such as low rainfall and high temperatures coupled with different soil conditions gave rise to various crop combinations and crop rotations. The limitation of household labor further determined the type of crops and cropping pattern. Traditional agriculture generally ensured food security and preserved genetic diversity.
It is women who decide the amount of seeds that have to be preserved, the variety, and the preservation methods necessary. The role of women in the selection of seeds begins when the crops come into flower. In the ragi, finger millet growing regions of South India, the first flower to bloom in the field is mustard. Identifying fruits which will produce good seeds begins with the collection of green vegetables, in the case of the pulses, that are associated with ragi. While collecting the green beans, women identify which plant will be allowed to mature into good quality seed on the basis of size, grain formation, pest and insects attack. While weeding, women keep a watch on the ears of the main cereal crops, especially in the case of sorghum and bajra, pearl millet. The ears that are largest are selected for reproduction. While selecting and storing seeds, women determine the quantity needed for 2 planting seasons. This is to avoid the risk of drought and the possibility of going without seed. For storage purposes, the Lakli Vitex negundo leaf is used for preserving paddy seeds. Wherever Lakli is not found in abundance, neem is used as a preservative. In a few cases, seeds are mixed with other seeds for preservation. For example, Dolichos lablab or field beans are mixed with mustard or finger millets for preservation. Tur, pigeon pea, is mixed with sand for preservation. In other instances, seeds are stored above the kitchen so smoke keeps the pests away.
ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಜಮೀನಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ದಾರ ಕಟ್ಟಿರೋಂಥ ತೆನೆನ ನೋಡಿ, ಇಂಥ ತೆನೆ ನಾವು ರಾಗ ಇಲ್ದಿರ ದಾರ ಕಟ್ಟಿರೋ ತೆನೆ ತಂದು ನಾವು ಬಿಸಿಲಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರ ನೆರಳಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಇದನ್ನ ಈ ಥರ ಆರಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದನ್ನು ಕೈಯಲ್ಲೇ ಈ ಥರ ವಾಸ್ತು ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಾಕೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಈ ಥರ ವಾಸ್ತು ಒಟ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ತೆಗೆದು ಬಿತ್ತನೆಯ ಗಂಟನೂ ಒಂದು ಮಡಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿ ನಾವು ಬಚ್ಚಿಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ.
ಈಗ ಬೆಳೆಗಳು ಅಂದರೆ ರಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತು ಭತ್ತ, ಟೊಮೊಟೊ, ಬದನೆ ಮತ್ತು ಬಾಳೆ ಇಷ್ಟನ್ನು ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಎಕರೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾವಯವ ಕೃಷಿಯಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ.
ನಾವು ನಾಟಿ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ 2 ಪೈರು ನಾಟಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಸರ್. ಈ 2 ಪೈರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು 20 ದಿವಸಕ್ಕೆ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 ಪೈರು 12 ಪೈರು ಬುಡದಲ್ಲಿ ತೆಂಡೆ ಹೊಡೆದಾಗ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆಗೆ ಸುಮಾರು 40ರವರೆಗೂ ಕವಲೊಡಿಬೋದು ಸರ್. ಇದು
ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಹಿಳೆಯರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೂಲಿ ಕರೆದವ್ರಿ. ವಾರ 10 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಉಳಿತಾಯ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತವ್ರಿ. ಆ ಉಳಿತಾಯ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮತ್ತು ಇದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅಕ್ಕಿ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾವ್ರಿ, ಬ್ಯಾಳೆ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾವ್ರಿ, ಮತ್ತು ಈ ರೈತರಿಗೆ ಬೀಜ ಕೊಡೋದು ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಮಾಡ್ತಾವ್ರಿ. ಈಗೆಲ್ಲ ಈ ರೈತರು ನಾವು ಹೊಂದಾಣಿಕೆ ಹಾಕ್ಯಂದು ಈ ಬೀಜ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ ನಡೆಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾವ್ರಿ.
Diversity in ragi has gone through transition with the introduction of INDAF varieties. The indigenous varieties with ample fodder quality and aroma are now rare to come by. The intra-species diversity in ragi has been reduced to a few grown in remote part of the dryland region. Some of the farmers have been champions and pioneers in keeping these varieties on the farm. Villages around the Maravaladi in Karnataka and Thali in Tamil Nadu are trying to maintain this diversity.
What we see here are representative crop genetic resources that are rescued from the field in order to conserve and sustainable use on farm, because they are endangered as a result of modernization. So the community gene bank is being used to showcase what is there, which one is threatened and why they are threatened. And then they are also associated with the knowledge and practices that farmers created this genetic diversity for all humanity. The reason why we need community gene bank is because there is a huge risk of genetic erosion in the necessary and damaging modernization, particularly in commercial agriculture country like India, and at the same time is a center of origin and domestication for a number of crop resources. So here, these genetic resources, what we call farmers varieties, were the first, the foundation rock. They were the result of human ingenuity that were domesticated from wild species. So farmers variety have been with us since the beginning of agriculture. This diversity are endangered, and some of them are lost because of wrong policy, land use policy, because of modernization and other things. So here, now what we are observing through our program is these genetic resources are becoming internally exiled, displaced, and being conserved and maintained by the poorest of the poor and the marginal area. Now they are being used as border crop, and they are just dispersed, and once we lose them, and the whole food supply system for humanity will be endangered. So through Green Foundation and through farmers collaboration, we bring them into the seed bank and then document them, study them, and experiment them and give back to the farmers, so that farmers are proud of their heritage, and at the same time they will be used to address the bigger picture of food security, agricultural sustainability on farm. So farmers and scientists will work together, because these are the materials, the genetic resources that are created by farmers. So their knowledge and practices, these women and their children, are important, enhancing and adding value, so that they understand them. In some places you just see them are border crops, as hedge crops, are home garden crops, rather than being the staple, the main sources of livelihood security. So Green Foundation with collaborating farmers in USC, Canada are bringing this valuable genetic resources along with the knowledge and practices, work with scientists, add value, conserve sustainable use so that they go into use into the next generation. Particularly so with in light of climate change, cultural change and other things, we need these highly diversified, highly heterogeneous farmers varieties.
Shifting the scene to North Karnataka, we see a diminishing diversity on the staple crop sorghum. Traditional varieties of sorghum, known for its fodder value and food quality, largely grown in the black cotton soils, have been replaced by commercial crops like chili and cotton.
ಇದು ಜವಾರದೊಳಗೆ ಪ್ರಸಿದ್ಧ ಜವಾರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಲೋಕಲ್ ಜವಾರ. ಇದು ಕಾಳಗುಂಡ ಅಂತಾರೆ, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಕರೆಗೊಂಡಿ ನಂದ್ಯಾಲ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಇದು ತೌಡು ಕಡಿಮೆ, ಹಿಟ್ಟು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ, ರೊಟ್ಟಿ ಮೃದು ಆಕೈತಿ, ಚಪಾತಿ ನಮೂನಿ ಮೃದು ಆಕೈತಿ, ಮತ್ತು ತಿನ್ನೋರ್ಗಳು ಹಿತಕಾರಕ, ಮತ್ತು ದನಕ್ಕೆ ಮೇವು ಭಾಳ ಹಿತಕಾರಕ. ಇದು ದನಕ್ಕೆ ಮೇವು ಇದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಶರ್ಕರಾಂಶ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ, ಮೇವು ರುಚಿ ಬರ್ತೈತಿ. ಮತ್ತು ಇದು ನಾವು 10,000 ವರ್ಷಗಟ್ಟಲೆ ಕಾಯಂ ಇದ್ದ ಜೋಳ ಇದು, ಈ ಲೋಕಲ್ ಹೈಬ್ರಿಡ್ ಇದಲ್ಲ.
It is now rare to see a farmer who has maintained the heirloom seed of his ancestors. Seeds of agricultural crops have been developed over centuries by farming communities across the world. Earlier, the custom to exchange seeds with communities was responsible for the evolution of new varieties. It has become more and more common to see this along with the knowledge and cultural erosion. Indigenous diversity has gone into eternal exile within the ecosystem and are being recognized by derogative names and relegated as border crops. The variation within species and varieties is diminishing.
ಈ ಜೋಳ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಮೊದಲು ನಡುವಿತ್ತು, ಈಗ ಬರ್ತಾ ದಂಡಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಹಿಂಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 4-5-6 ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಹೋಗಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನ ಕಷ್ಟದಾಯಕವಾಗಿ ಪರಿಣಮಿಸ್ತದೆ. ಈ ಜೋಳ ನಾವು ಕಾಯ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಮುಂದೆ ಇದರಂಥ ಫಲವತ್ತಾದ ಆಹಾರ, ಇದರಂಥ ಉತ್ತಮವಾದ ಮೇವು ಯಾವುದು ಸಿಗುವುದಿಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ.
The recent entry of commercial sector in seed production and supply has opened the way for profits.
Public institutions such as universities and state seed corporations produce the seeds of notified varieties. They produce seeds of crops like sunflower, groundnut, Bengal gram, cotton, maize, sorghum, safflower, etc., in which seeds are required in bulk quantity, unlike high-value crops such as vegetables. These varieties released by public institutions are the ones whose seeds are produced by them. These institutions breed high-yielding varieties and hybrids in many crops. Breeders evolve hybrids and then they are released from cultivation after multi-location trials. Universities' research stations extensively work on developing new varieties and hybrids for commercial cultivation. The seeds thus produced are bagged in bulk and marketed wholesale. They are sold to the farmers through departmental networks through subsidy schemes. Under these circumstances, indigenous intra-species and interspecies diversity is being sent into internal exile.
Over the years, seed production has moved away from the hands of the farmers and into the public sector and now increasingly to the private sector. As farmer dependency on seeds and all related inputs from external sources increases, sustainability of farming is under threat, in particular for the small and marginal farmers. With commercial seeds and commercial cultivation taking the center stage, the future of farmers and the indigenous seeds is facing an uncertainty. The impact, of course, has had its toll on the culture of food and the perpetuation of fast foods and imported foods. The diversity of food from regions where crop diversity still remains is a feast for the eyes and the taste buds. In the fast-growing globalization of food and culture, a movement to conserve the planet's diversity and stall the crisis has to be done today. we cannot wait for tomorrow.
ಈ ಭೂಮಿ ನನಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿ ಸರ್ 60-62 ವರ್ಷ ಆಯಿತು. ನನ್ನ ಹಿರಿಯರಿಂದ ಬಂದದ್ದು ಆಸ್ತಿ ಇದು. ನನಗೆ ಸರ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 21 ಎಕರೆ ಜಾಗ ಉಂಟು ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಮತ್ತು ಇದು ನಾನು ಮೊದಲಿಂದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕೃಷಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಒಂದು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಕೃಷಿದೊಂದು ಆಸ್ತಿ ದುರ್ಭಿಕ್ಷಮ್ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಈಗ ಅದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಆಗಿನ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾಸ್ತಿ.
ಮತ್ತು ಇದರದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ರಾಜಗಾಮೆ ಮತ್ತು ಗನ್ಸಲೆ ಹೇಳಿತು. ಮತ್ತು ರಾಜಗಾಮೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಇದು ಕಯಮ್ಮೆ ಕಾವಳು ಕಣ್ಣ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಬೆಳ್ತಿಗೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಈ ಟೈಮಿಂದು ಬೆಳ್ತಿಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ.
The mainstream conventional agricultural system has opened a Pandora's box, leading to agrarian crisis. The way forward is to initiate an indigenous model of development. Technology development, particularly on seed, needs to engage farmers and their participation. Conservation of genetic diversity is vital to food security of humanity. Strategic partnership between public, private, civil society organizations and farming communities will ensure more meaningful efforts in this direction. Moreover, self-reliance and empowerment of farming community is vital to the survival of agriculture and rural economy.